Long before social media, it had already been documented that constant comparison was not good for one's mental health. Now you open up those doors of seeing the highlights of everybody's life and then comparing where you are in your life on a particular day, especially if you're having a down day or a depressed type day, and you compare yourself to those lives, and it's just a dead-end road. So if you find that you are constantly comparing yourself to things and that's affecting your creative output, whether you are a band or a songwriter, or really in any form of entertainment, you need to put steps in place so that you can limit your time on social media and get back to focusing on your own goals and achievements. Ironically, I read a phrase online this morning in relation to songwriters that said, your song doesn't have to always change somebody's life. You can sometimes write something that might just be enjoyable to somebody else. In fact, I think the phrase said something along the lines of, it's okay for your song to be a vase on somebody's table to enjoy. It's an interesting thought to sort of dissect, because I think as artistic types, we think we always need to be the next Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, Jimi Hendrix, these influential figures that seem to have stood the test of time and are well respected across genres. If you're trying to strive for that, of course, go for that, but it's okay to not be that. And I thought that that phrase was really inspiring. In fact, it became the reason I wanted to make this video. Something else that's worth mentioning is that you probably find that the aforementioned artists, or really anybody from back in the day, only had to compare within their social circles. Now we've got the world. So it's much easier to focus on the things you don't have, to focus on the wants that you don't have, to focus on the material objects you don't have, especially if the people you're following are only posting the good parts. That's really what social media is. It's the good parts. We don't often see the bad parts, depending on your algorithm, of course. Nonetheless, here are a few things to think about next time you feel like you're entrenched in those comparison ditches. Firstly, limit your social media use. I get it, we're all part of the dopamine addiction now, but if it is having negative effects on you mentally or creatively, you got to find a way to limit your time on it. Another thing that has been scientifically proven is to practice gratitude. This one's a little bit tough because obviously when we are in those mindsets, it's easier to think about what we don't have. But hypothetically, if you are comparing a release to somebody else's release, and you know that that person possibly has numerous team members behind them, or a budget that is way beyond your reach at this point, or whatever the circumstances are, instead of focusing on those things and fixating on them, try and pull yourself back a little and think about the things that you do have and why you should be grateful. Show gratitude for the fact that you even have a song to release, that you have the skill to write a song to release it, that you have some budget if you do. Maybe you don't have as many team members, but eventually with enough work and time, you will build team members. These things will come. Patience plays a big part. But expressing gratitude will shift the energy, and rather than having all this negativity weigh you down, you'll start to feel a little bit lighter and possibly even motivated to continue focusing on you. Talking of you, you need to prioritize your goals, and you need to stop worrying about everybody else's goals and focus on yours. Now, I'm not saying become a selfish bastard. Help people, be good to people, show mercy and be humble and be human, but make yourself a priority so that you can start tracking your progress. And as you track your progress, maybe you find that you're not comparing so much anymore. And when comparison does happen, you can quickly shift that focus back to what it is you need to do to try and get to those points. If all else fails and you feel stuck in a rut and you can't kind of get out of that rut, put your phone down and go do something physical. A walk, a run, do some star jumps, go for a swim, take your dog for a walk, whatever it is, to change the flow of dopamine that you're currently receiving and possibly change your thought direction. I know that it sounds all hippie and hogwash and arty-farty, but your thoughts are everything. If you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. These are all self-fulfilling principles. And typically, if you have determined what your answer is before you've even gotten there, that's going to be your answer. So don't put yourself in negative light. Don't allow yourself to sit in these comparison traps. Pull away, focus on the good, make yourself a priority, and you will start to see a shift. I truly hope that this helps. If it did, please drop me a comment below. If it didn't, drop me a comment below. Nonetheless, please do hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.